think I heard about natural burial for the first time on the show 6 Feet Under years ago, a show about a funeral director family. And I'm sure I probably read about it too, maybe in Sierra magazine or other environmental publications. But it was something that was kind of in the back of my mind for a long time. I learned about Heartwood Preserve when my husband was in very failing health. He had been in failing health for a number of years, but that we were getting toward the end. And actually I didn't know it, but we were a couple days away, and I knew about green burial, so I just started Googling green burial in Florida. And only 3 places came up, and it turned out Heartwood was just a few miles from my house, and so I looked into it and came out here for a visit the next day.
I first read about Heartwood in one of our local magazines that I had seen in maybe Whole Foods or one of the health food stores, and read the article with real interest, and I was excited too, and carried it home and read it to my hubby right away, because we had been talking about finding a right place for our remains. Our son's ashes are in the Pacific Ocean, so we always considered an ocean burial, but somehow that wasn't quite right. And when we talked about Heartwood, my hubby said, because he always deferred to me because of where my son's ashes went, whatever you want. Well, there was no question. When Sid died, he loved Florida, and I came right up here to see Heartwood, and I knew it was right, and fell in love with it myself. Here, I wish the one thing that hurts is that I wish Sid could see this place in the real and in the flesh, and because I know he would like it. For me, I love coming here. It's very gratifying to come here for all the reasons of choosing it, as well as for how beautiful it is. So I always go home feeling full after I've been here.
The way I heard about Heartwood was about 2 years ago. I asked my wife to go for a bike ride with me through the Starkey Wilderness. When we got into that area, which looks just like this, she just loved it. She was just overwhelmed by all the beauty and the life and the motion around her, and she's a creative person and wanted to know more about it. She wanted to do some writing about it. And when she started researching the Starkey Wilderness, she came across an article that mentioned this place, the preserve. And she showed me the article, and when I read the article and read about Heartwood, I thought, this is it. I've found what I've been looking for. The thing that I really am attracted to the most about Heartwood is just the pure beauty and natural beauty of Florida and Florida's nature. Even though I grew up long ways from here in the mountains of New York State, I grew up in a very similar area, an area that had been agricultural territory until maybe 50 years ago. And so I grew up in very similar surroundings, just a different climate and different vegetation. But it feels the same. It feels the same to me when I'm here. And it smells the same. The sky looks the same. The sky is just as blue here as it is up there. And the greens are just as green. And that's what I love about this.
I heard about natural burial for the first time when Greg came home sharing with me that you were planning to do something like that with the land here.
Yeah, again, I had heard about that Starkey Ranch. A portion of it was going to be a preserve and a natural cemetery. So again, I grew up really close to here and played in these woods as a young kid, and again, it really feels like home here. So when we came out and walked around the property, it just felt like home. It felt like this is where I wanted to be.
Well, I first
heard about this place when I was riding bikes, and we made it all the way to the Starkey Wilderness area. And Kim said, "Oh, Bill's buried around here somewhere." And I'm like, "Really?" And so Bill Greenlee's, hearing about his experience coming here, and then I pulled up the website, and I just really loved it. It's just exactly what I was looking for. When I first found out I had lung cancer, I immediately went into panic mode and started looking into making my arrangements, my final arrangements, right away. And the first thing I did was go down to a funeral home and arrange to be cremated. But I knew that wasn't what I really wanted. And then I started looking into other options, and I remembered this, and I pulled up the website and saw your video of the person in the shroud being lowered into the ground, and saw the nature trails and saw what this place looked like, and then realized I had a lot of time to plan. I didn't realize that right at first. I kind of panicked, and I thought, as long as I have time to plan, then I'm going to do what I want to do. And at first, I was afraid of how my parents would take it. They're so traditional and old-fashioned. Then I thought, this is the last decision I'm ever going to make. I'm sure going to make the decision that's right for me. And the more I looked into this, I knew this was where I wanted to be, and I've surprised my parents with my actions my whole life. Why should my last action be any different,
My experience on the day of the burial and leading up to it was just a very calm, beautiful location with people that we connected with right away. And then we were able to arrange the burial on the day that we wanted and have all the support that we needed, but we were able to design our own service in our own way. And my daughters and my son-in-law got to shovel earth into the grave, and for them that was a really important component of getting closure and saying goodbye. It seemed really beautiful to them and spiritual. The day out here was on the day my husband was buried. It turned out luckily to be a beautiful sunny day, and the birds were singing and the wildflowers were, I think some of them were blooming.
The day that we came out here to bury my son's ashes turned out to be a real healing process for me, because I'm sure that anyone who's lost anybody, and especially anyone who's lost a child, knows that it is probably the most horrible thing you can imagine. And I had a tough time between the time that Greg died and the time that we brought him to Heartwood. A very, very tough time, but the burial itself was handled so beautifully by the staff that my healing process actually got underway at that point. I was especially overwhelmed by the fact that the staff here at Heartwood became part of our family literally that day. That they joined us in our feelings and in the whole process. I can't say any more about it. It's just, it was just such a beautiful experience.
I've chosen the traditional pine box that every observant Jew uses to get buried in, and so it'll be a nice smooth surface, because all my friends are artists, and we all love art and color and each other, and so I'm going to have their handprints on my box. I don't even want to call it a casket, because it's really not. My final resting place. And most of them will probably also want to paint something on there. As far as music, that just depends on what sort of AV system we have. I really need to ask you more about that, but not a lot. The song that popped into my head was the simple song, A Shaker's Hymn, that Andrew Copeland revised and put into the ballet Appalachian Spring. "'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free." What a song. That just sums me up. The first 4 lines of that song, if I could get someone out here to play that on a violin and have my friends sing those 4 verses, that's all the music I need right there. Everyone I tell about my plans wants to know more about it, so I'm going to be needing some literature from you, because they're all just like, oh, that's wonderful. But God, what would my mom think? And that's when I tell them, it's like, this is the last thing you're ever going to do. It's time to do what you want to do at that point in your existence, you know. And I just wouldn't have it any other way now. I'm so glad that I finally woke up and realized that and said, this is what I'm going to do, you know. And the people that are going to be at my service, it's going to be a great day. It's just, you know, not that I'm saying I'm looking forward to it, but then again, it's like, it's going to be a great day. So that's my feelings about that.